Hello and welcome to Tips Creatives. Today I am working on a project. I wanted to do Junk Journal January, and I've ended up having to do other videos, wanting to do other videos, and I've gotten behind on the prompts for Junk Journal January. So this was something that I had started and gotten together to be able to make with you. This was going to be the flaps. So the card type that I'm using. And what I did is I went ahead and I folded the sides in here to make an extra fold. Boom, and I fold those over so they would flap out, and then they would close here, and then you've got your back side. So that's what I did, and I ended up just painting all of this white. And again, after you paint it white or use gesso or whatever you want, you can do all kinds of things here, from adding other embellishments or different types of ephemera. I always say that wrong and I have to fix it. So you can do all sorts of things here and make it your own. I also found these little birdies that I like. I think those are cool, but have decided not to use those, at least here. So again, got the white here. It's going to fold and have this beautiful sparkly scarf as the closure. I'm not going to tack that down just yet because I want to make sure that I don't change my mind. You know how you start journaling or you start decorating and doing all your craftiness, and then you decide to kind of change mid-project what you thought you were going to do? That's definitely me. So I'm not going to tack it down just yet to make sure that's the direction I'm going to go. This will be kind of fun because I was thinking I could use some of my faux rice paper that didn't turn out real great and just basically glue that down here. Now you may have seen this in the previous video where I was comparing glues for making faux rice paper and what works and what doesn't work. So this is from that video, and I'm just saving pieces and parts of that, and I'm going to use them and glue them down and use them in different ways, even if they didn't work out, instead of throwing them away. So the inside, what I've done here, so this is the part that I folded over that was normally flat, and I creased and made that extra flip there. So I used a bone folder to make sure that was a nice crisp line, and you can use anything you want to make that nice crisp line. I saw Pam on the Paper Outpost one time. She couldn't find her bone folder, and it was perfect. She used her glue stick and the edge and just made that crease. I was like, oh my gosh, she's right. You don't even have to have a bone folder. So if you don't have one or you can't find yours, just use the bottom part of your stick glue, and that really does make a nice crease after you press it down into the paper there. All right, so let's open this up. I also grabbed some of my scrapbooking paper that I got at the Goodwill for practically nothing, and I thought these colors were kind of neat to use. The green one was actually sticker paper, so I pulled off the sticker from the back and just pressed that down in, and there was 2 layers. So the green, I put 1 layer here and 1 layer here, and then decided to use the blue on the side. I didn't even measure it out. What I did is I glue it down and then I cut around the edges. So that's what we're going to do on this side. Is I'm going to go ahead and glue this down into place, and then we'll cut around it. So what I had used before, let's go ahead and use the glue stick. Let's use our glue stick to do this. All right, so how's everybody today? I had a good night's sleep. I really struggle with a lot of health conditions, and so often I don't have good sleep. And last night I stayed up working on projects, and I was really happy when I woke up after 5 hours and had some good sleep. But I didn't go to bed till 5:30 this morning. That's okay. Sleep is sleep, no matter how you get it. All right, so I'm just going to butt it up against the edge here. And I know this is going to be, this is going to show right here. But that's okay. We need to be able to fold, and I can cover that with washi or whatever. And I'm going to just press that down. Again, if you want, you can just use your glue stick to make sure that gets on there nice and firm without any pockets of air there. And then one of the easiest ways to do this, because I do not like measuring. I am the worst. If I need to measure something out, I have my husband do it because he's really good and perfectionistic at measuring. So me, I'd rather just put it on and then try to go with the flow there and follow the line. So, oh, my glasses are messy. Sorry about that. I'm going to just clean those off so I can actually see what I'm doing here. Now I use these whiskers for paper only. And these Fisker scissors are nice because if you have arthritis, they're very good for your hands because they automatically open and you don't have to do the close and use your hands to open the scissors. So it reduces that pressure and pain on the joints. And so these are very nice, the ones that retract automatically. And yeah, it really has saved my hands. So I'm just going to follow that. Hopefully you guys can see them on camera. And the other thing is learning to cut straight. You know, I had to follow a video on how to cut straight because I was having all sorts of trouble with cutting when I first started out. And yes, they do have videos on that, believe it or not. All right, so I just trimmed the outline of that off. Boom. And voila, I didn't have to measure anything out. And it is all done. Let's get this the right way. See, I've tacked that on. I could have taken it off. Probably could do that. Let's do that right now. So we'll deal with that more later. Here's some of my paper beads that I have made and embellished. I've been working on making flower dangles for the paper beads that I created. 300 of these. It was a lot of fun. And these are wire wrap beads, and I generally use glass only. I try to stay away from any acrylics. Sometimes you can't help it, but then I try to use higher end acrylics. And so yeah, these are my paper beads with dangles, and I was thinking maybe there was a way I can incorporate it to this project here today. All right, so we've got that done. The next thing I wanted to do is I thought this would look kind of, you know, like sky a little bit. So I've got kind of a grass thing going on here. So this is my base, and then I'll have the upper third of this as a little bit of a sky representation. So again, what we're going to do is pull out our trusty glue stick. I do like the Scotch Create glue stick. It does stick very well. The other one I like to use is the Yoo-hoo stick. So either one of these work. Glue sticks got expensive for a while there. Oof, I was shocked at how much they cost. I went back to repurchase them, and holy moly, the price of them had gone up. So I'm going to just put a nice hefty amount of glue stick here, making sure I get along the edges nicely. And how far down is this? We're going to want this. Yeah, I think about there. And so I'm going to put some onto the green here. And yeah, so I got some really good sleep last night. That was nice. And now today I get to play in my craft room. I really challenged myself to get my must-dos done before I allow myself to go play. And that's what I was doing last night, staying up till 5:30 in the morning. I wanted to get my must-dos completed so I could just have some fun playing and not worry that I have more projects hanging over my head. And it felt really good to get those done because I'm still learning how to, you know, use the camera and use the editing programs. It's a challenge for me, and it takes a long time. And I know over time I'll get better and it'll get faster. But boy, the learning curve is really hardcore for me anyway. And that's again why part of the reason I was up till 5:30 in the morning. All right. So I hope you had a good night's sleep. All right, one of the things that can save your bacon is having some wet wipes around, and because it just will easily take off things that might show up. So I'm just taking off that extra layer of glue there just in case. And yes, that did take some paint off or some color off, and I'm okay with that. And I'm just going to tap that off here. And I just didn't want any glue marks to show. So hopefully that will work out okay. And these are, you know, you can get these at the Dollar Tree. You can also get them at Costco in bulk. Excellent. So I'm not worried about that showing because we're going to use something to cover that up, some washi tape. So I've got what is in my mind a little bit of earth and sky, and then some more representation of sky. And from here, I was thinking we could put our little elephants on. And again, this is the rice paper. This one did not have the dryer sheet in it. This was glue and tissue. So after I put the glue over both sides of the tissue, this one hardened because of the, I probably used Elmer's glue on it, and it hardened and became crispy and broke. So in that video, I asked people, do you have any other ideas on how to make rice paper with Elmer's glue? Because it seems like a lot of people do, and they have success with it. All mine got crispy and fell apart. You can also continue to use other types of ephemera for layering and collaging. So that's what I'm going to do here. Because I've got some little pieces of, these are digitals, and I crumpled them up to kind of age them and make them look a little different. We're going to tear them up and layer them in the project here. And so that's one thing that you can do if you are new and you didn't know that. In order to age your digitals, crunch them up, then they can look a lot older that way. And then you can distress them with your ink. Let's see. I'm just going to pull out my distressing ink, figure out which one it's in. Let's use this little one. So I have all my little containers that I use for keeping organized. This one's actually a container for your kitchen, and I received this when I did a gift exchange at Christmas. And I actually bought it for the exchange, keeping to the dollar amount that we had to share. And I liked it so much that I ended up stealing it back and taking it home because I knew I could use it for decorating or holding some of my embellishments and other things. Okay, so in order to distress further, you can use, these little inks. This one, let me show you, is the Distress Ink Antique Linen. And so I wanted to just kind of make that look a little dirtier. And so the antique linen is one of my favorites because it does just give that little bit of a dirty look without making it too awful. And then I just want that to kind of look like it's been through the wringer. And then the white little edges here, I'm going to fill those in with some color. And to make that look a little aged. And don't throw away these little pieces. Use them. Keep them. They're good for you. And then we'll use a little bit of the vintage photo in there just to keep it a little more aged looking. Okay, so that's nice and dirty. Nice and dirty. I like it. And we're going to put that down as a beginning layer here. And so using my trusty glue stick here, we're going to make sure we get all the edges down. I hate it when the edges come up. And this is something I'll just kind of save. I don't have a project that I have an idea I want to use it for right now. So it'll be something that I just kind of save and use later. So I don't know if I'll use it in a project that I'll give away or something. So I do want to make sure that I get things glued down well. Sometimes if it's for me, I will kind of shortcut and go, oh, that's good enough. But I'm going to put some more over here. I don't want to do that with this one because I don't know if it's going to be for me or not. And so we want to just make sure it's going to stick well for anybody else we use this for. So I'm going to collage that together right here. And I'm pretty sure you can see that. Ooh, this one's a nice one. That one, ooh, look at that. It has some yuck there already. So let's do this. We're going to put some extra yuck on there just randomly. And that's the antique photo. I can be kind of a messy crafter. Like just go with whatever's happening and go with a feel. I really go on feel, more intuitive than a plan. A plan, I freeze up when I have a plan. And that can be the hard part is like, oh no, now that I have a plan what to do, I don't know what to do, but if I go by feel, then I can just wing it. Throw something on the page for a start, and then I'm on my way. So we're going to just kind of keep it like that, as if we found it in tatters. And again, we're going to just kind of put this along the edge. One thing I really don't do a lot is inking. Inking the edges, some people find that very relaxing. For me, no. I find it somewhat irritating. I want to keep moving on to other things rather than inking the edges, so I get a little edgy if I have a lot to ink. This doesn't bother me so much. It's like, oh, this is kind of fun. And I can see the item developing the way I want it to. But yeah, if there's a lot to ink, oh, it makes me crazy. In fact, I made a personal journal for myself, and I don't think I inked very much in that because it was a ginormous journal, and I would have had to I would have been inking for weeks. And so there's not much inking in that one, and it still looks awesome. It's beautiful. Okay, so I think that looks fantastic. I love how aged that is. I mean, look at that. And it just looks like it's old and somebody stepped on it. This side we don't worry about, right? Because it's not going to be seen. And where do we want to put that? Let's see. I think it would kind of look cool there. But I want to put another base here first before I do that. So let's see. I kind of think it would look good there. Let's do that. Let's put it there. All right. So I think you can see me if I ink it over here. I'm going to use this as my base so that I can go off the edges, and I'll clean it up later. Clean it up. And that way I can go off the edges of my item that I'm gluing and not worry about it, and still be able to get those edges nice and covered so that they're going to stick down and not pop back up. All right, so that looks good. And we're going to layer that over the other one. And, ooh, nice and sticky. Nice and sticky. Yeah, that is a good glue. I do like it. And use my bone folder to just kind of get that pressed down. I could have crinkled it into itself, and that would have kind of looked nice too. All right, so we've got that one done. Now, I think what we'll do is put an elephant. I think this elephant is so cute. We want him kind of wandering around this grass here. Nope, he's not. I'm not feeling it with him. Not feeling it. But I do like this elephant. He's so cute. Look at him. He's so cute. And let's put him, what do you think, right there? Or, oh, I think over there is better. That's going to be better. So let's do that. We're going to put him here. And I have not used my full rice paper on a project yet, so this will be kind of neat. And I want him to be seen, so I'm going to get him on the grass so that he's going to show up in the green. All right, and then what I'm going to do is make sure my edges are done here. Okay, so what I'm going to do from there is we can put another guy. I want to put him like he's half part of the group. Okay, let's put that there. Like he shows up only part way. Oh, here we go. We've got another one. And you know what? I think that's okay that for me that he's not showing up real good on the blue and that it's just kind of a slight gesture of him being there. So we're going to go ahead and put him there. I just want him to be like, okay, I'm part of the group. I'm back here, but you don't see me a lot. And so that's what we're going to do with this little guy. Walking around in the jungle. Boom. And that way we cover up my glue mess that I've got going here, right? Because I do have a glue mess going there. And where's my, that's where these wipes are good. Because you can get that glue off your fingers. And I have a little more on my thumb that I need to get off. Okay. I'm going to press this down with my bone folder, make sure it gets on there real well. That part's sticking up, so I'm going to take it off. Because it's rather thick. And that's rather thick. So I'm going to take that off as well. And there you go. That is my faux rice paper on this project. And we've got some little thick chunks that, I mean, they're really layered in there. You probably can't see it, but it has a little hefty weight to it. So it's going to be a problem when I close this. It's going to be in the way. So I wanted to make sure I just get that off and I won't have to deal with that later. All right. So as I get going here, I start throwing things all over the place. Look at him. Where do you want him? He's so cute too. Ooh, I like him. Maybe we do him right here. What do you think? We can also put him over here. So if you wander around with the guy, with the little guy, I'll find a spot that just feels like that's where I want it. And it helps me feel the balance of the project. That's where I want it. For some reason, that feels like the spot there. And I want the leaves off of there too. So again, I'm going to use my little glue spot over here. And I feel a little chunkiness in this one too. I'm going to put my lid on my glue there. And as you can see, we'll just put him right there. So these napkins I found in England when we were traveling. I have a hard time over here finding any kind of beautiful designs in napkins. The only ones I find are at the Dollar Tree. I've even looked for some that I thought, okay, I'll pay the price for them if I can find some locally that are super beautiful. And I'm really into flowers. I love florals, so that's what I was going for. But I couldn't find any. So when we were traveling in Europe, oh, they had this huge stand full of all these Kleenexes and napkins with beautiful, beautiful, I'm not throwing that away, what am I thinking? With beautiful patterns and images. And I think I brought home at least 11. They were like $1 something, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't buy more. I don't know what I was thinking, but I should have bought more. But you know, you're always worried about how much room you have when you're coming home. And that was my concern, is how much room do I have? I want to put this up here like they're in the jungle. Have a little more jungle fever to them. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I regret that I didn't buy more, but next time, I'm sure we'll be back sometime. My husband loves to travel. COVID has really put a kibosh in that, you know, because especially when they closed borders and stuff, we had a big trip planned and we didn't get to go, and that's basically when I got into junk journaling because I had to find something else to do. I am a cleaner in between crafting, so that's what sorry about that. I have to clean things up or I go crazy. So there you go. Yeah, so we didn't get to go on our trip. We had to cancel it. We lost a ton of money because even with insurance, we had trouble getting the money back. And it was just unfortunate. So we haven't done a lot of travel since COVID kicked in, and of course my health plays a part in that too. Got to be healthy to travel, and I struggle with that. So this is going in a good direction so far. Sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is ugly, but don't give up because it will evolve and look better as you go along. And I've really struggled with the fact that mid-project, I'm like, oh, this looks terrible. I'm so awful at this. Oh my goodness. And then by the end of it, you know, I'm like, okay, that's fine. It turned out, and I was able to cover the things that were bothering me or whatnot. And then by the end of the project, I come back a couple days later and look at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that really did turn out nice. So I think there's this point where you've stared at your project so long that it really starts to just, and I'm over here gluing this. I don't know, do I have another glue pad? Not that I can see here. Okay, you guys can see that. So, you know, sometimes you have to walk away from your project and look at it later and with fresh eyes, and then you really are able to judge whether or not it's an item you like. Because so often, if you do it at the end of the project, you are going to be like, oh, yeah, no, that was not what I want. That turned out awful. And I thought, nobody's ever going to like this. And then people go, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. How'd you do that? And so I thought I'd wanted this right here, but now I'm like, where do I, let's scrunch it. I do want that a little scrunchy. There. I wanted it to look scrunchy and like it. It was really kind of on the verge of falling apart. Okay, so that turned out the way I wanted it. I love the scrunchiness there. So you can see it has that little fold there, and I've just pressed it down, and the inking helped highlight the edges and make it look older, and it's just all crispy and wrinkly, and I do like that. Okay, so far so good. What else do we have here? We've got these pretty flowers, and like I said, I really am into botanicals. I love them, and these are pretty. These really are pretty. Let's see. All right, so do we want to just go, oh, these are flowers, let's put them in the grass? Or do we want to try to be a little more creative and do something different? Do I want that as a focal point? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that should be my focal point. We could do something like that. What do you think? We could wait on that for a second and think about it. I really am digging this. I think what I want to do here is kind of a back and forth of So yeah, I'm thinking what I want is some script in here and have it kind of just random and all over. Stamping could be really nice here too. So here we go, we'll get that all ripped out. And we're going to put that here. What would be good too is ink it. I think I'm going to ink it once I get it on. And we'll just do that. Okay, press that in. Do a little more here. And that's the other thing I like about junk journaling is it can be imperfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? So if I'm doing a project and it's coming out all kind of wrinkly and I'm like, all right, that's even better. That's so cool that it can be imperfect, and yet that's what makes it perfect, right? I love that. So we're gonna make sure our edges are down there, and maybe we'll fold it over a little bit. Press them, press them, press them. So I do like the script there. Whoop, getting a little aggressive. So there we go. And then we're gonna collage these other areas in. I think what I'm gonna do here is, would kind of date this, but I might go ahead and do that as a title there. I think is what I want to do is put that as a title there. And see, I just want these all nice and wrinkly to age them as much as I can. And so let's say stick glue is a water-based glue. And what's nice about stick glue is it gives you time to work with the whatever you're gluing down. It gives you a little bit of time. And some of them will dry faster than others, but this one does give you the ability to move it around just a bit as needed. Okay, so we're gonna put this on this side. And what I'm gonna do is take some of my Distress ink and put that around it. And see, I didn't ink the edges, so now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of taking this and going along the edge of it here to get that look going a little bit. And again, I'm just kind of being random, not perfect with it, which is so nice. Glues are important because I have found that glues, you can use them incorrectly. And some of them that are water-based, if they get wet, they can reactivate. And so like if you dropped your project and you use this water-based glue that's not permanent, once it hits the water, it can loosen your project and things can fall off. So same with inks, you have to be careful that you use the right inks because again, if they're water-based and they're not, they don't turn permanent, then you know they get wet and you now have rehydrated your ink and it will smear everywhere. And I've had that happen, not realizing that that's something you have to be careful with water-based inks. And my project was ruined, and I was so disheartened, so disheartened. Like, people should have told you that. So I did go and watch a Tim Holtz tutorial on the distress inks and distress oxide inks because that was something that really helped me understand how to use them and how not to use them and what's best. So I would highly recommend watching that Tim Holtz tutorial. It was actually pretty long on inks and how to best use them for your projects. I'm just trying to get the edges here a little better. And that way it will save you pain later on when you thought you were doing the right thing and your project somehow gets wet or dropped or rain gets on it, a lot of rain, or you spill a glass of water and it just reactivates the glue or ink and everything just kind of falls apart. So kind of, or it does. Probably should have saved that project to show people. At the time I didn't know that this was going to be a thing. Doing videos, it was kind of an afterthought in a way. I opened my store, Tiff's Creatives, and wanted a way to have people find it because I do really enjoy making the embellishments. The embellishments are some of the fun parts of junk journaling for me. Whether it's the jewelry or snippet rolls or things like that, the embellishments are so much fun for me to make. And so again, I wanted people to be able to find the store and be able to find, you know, tea-dyed papers or eco-dyed papers and buy them from me because there are those that don't like to make them. Like my sister, she works with journals too, but she absolutely hates doing the tea dyeing. It's a waste of her time. She doesn't enjoy it. And so she buys them from me. And so I started doing the YouTube to try to direct people to my store and found that, you know what, this is something really cool. And it's a way to connect with other people that are like-minded, that like to do journals and just really connect with others. Especially because I am housebound a lot of the times in the way of my health, whether it's a migraine or other things, and I don't have the ability to go anywhere. So this is a way that I can be and share with other people without, you know, when I can't leave the house and be able to connect and do something that we all love. And especially because sometimes, you know, there aren't a lot of people who like to junk journal, or they don't know about junk journaling. So it's something they learn about through us, right? And they look at us like we have 10 heads when we say, oh yeah, I do junk journaling. What is that? And what do you do with it? And why do you do it, right? And they're just like, oh my gosh, what the heck are you talking about? So it's nice to have other people to share this with. So I really appreciate anybody who watches my videos and hangs out with me and shares this time, because I'm very honored by you taking the time and being present with me. And whether you're just watching or being a part of, maybe you haven't even started junk journaling yet. Maybe you're just watching and thinking, I don't know if I could do that or not. And so, you know, that's okay too. I think that's great. And maybe you'll decide to do this or not. But in the meantime, we can hang out and talk. And as my channel grows, I'd like to do some contests and gosh, I would love for people to comment below and for us to share in this journey together. I've had only a couple comments so far, and I was so elated. I was like, oh my gosh, I had a comment, and it was just so nice to be able to connect with somebody else and talk with them. I was so excited. So yeah, if you have something you'd like to share, you have something you want to see, something that you want to input that's value add, we want to keep everything nice and respectful here, and honor each other and not do anything that's going to be mean. But yeah, put a comment, share your thoughts, share your feelings. This is going to be a safe place for that. And if you're not a person who's going to be a part of the safe place, yeah, please just don't even. We're gonna put that there and maybe add a little scrap in there. And that's where these little tiny scraps can come in handy. So don't throw them away just yet, because you might have a place that you're like, oh, I want to put that right there. Like this one. I just want to fill that in right there. And then maybe we put, no, this one here. Okay. All right, so as I was saying, the channel isn't something I had planned on doing, but realized that it is important if you want to get the message out about any kind of store, or even if you're doing an Etsy store, it's important to have a YouTube channel to share with people what you're doing. All right, what is that? Okay, put that in there. I don't mind that is a little broken. Actually, when we ink that, it's going to show up pretty neat. I do find that I like collaging a lot, layering stuff on top of each other to make something unique and that you didn't plan on. So we're going to do that. We'll press those down in and make sure that they're going to stick well. And they are pretty well glued. So I'm going to let that dry before I add ink to it, so I don't just smear them all over the place.